Hi, this is Paul. Welcome to another video. What I'm going to do now is just show you how I change the grip on my rackets. On the previous video, I've just replaced the foam undergrip, as I call it, which is providing a little bit of padding, a little bit of sponginess on the grip, takes away some of the vibration you can get, especially on the high tension stringing. So I've already put this on, and that was using a product called GR50, which is there. It comes in primarily orange around Europe, as I've seen, but is available in blue. Colour doesn't really matter because it's not on show, but it's a product used by a lot of the international players, like the Korean players, for instance. So it's one that I discovered when I was stringing at the All Englands, and I've subsequently since used it and use it all the time. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to change the grip on this racket. The old one was looking a little bit dirty. I tend to use the sort of brighter colours on this particular racket because it just matches really nicely. Although for practical purposes, obviously it's brilliant, but it doesn't look great when the grip gets dirty, so I do change them pretty often. So here's the one I'm going to replace it with. Fantastic grip, yellow again. So let's just open it up and show you exactly how I change grips. Now, when you are changing grip, everyone's got their personal preferences. Some players like to keep them neat and tidy, which is like myself. Other players, they are quite happy to use the entire grip and take the grip, instead of stopping here and cutting it to sides, they take it all the way at the shaft as well. I don't particularly like doing that. I like to keep this pristine. One of the reasons for that is that this is supposed to be part of the aerodynamics of a racket, and for me, putting grips on is changing the aerodynamics as well. So it's okay here, but I don't like doing it here. But that's personal preference. I have no problem with that. There are lots of different types of grips out there. This is classed as an overgrip, and the reason it's an overgrip is it hasn't got any sticky on the other side. Typically, a full grip replacement will have a wide band of like a self-adhesive glue and some paper so that it's there until you peel it off, all the way along, so it sticks to itself. With an overgrip, it's thinner, a lot thinner, and basically all we do with that is replace it over the existing grip. So you might use an overgrip to build up a grip to make it a lot bigger. For me, I take the rackets all the way back to the wood on the G5 grips and replace with an overgrip, and I find that's absolutely perfect for me, especially when I use this foam as well. So with an overgrip as well, I have to remove the outside covering. As you can see, that's come off. It's like a cellophane covering. So usually it gets a little bit sticky sometimes, or gets in the way. There, it's gone. So what I'm left with now is just a very small tacky piece at the end. And what I do is I'm just going to play it right against the butt end, I say, and then feed along the butt. I'm just going to move out the way so you can see what I'm doing here. Feed along the butt, holding in place and just stretching enough. All these little ripples, they just kind of work themselves out in a minute. There we go. Starting to work out now. And then for me, I like to just, hopefully you can see that, I'll leave the brand name just about showing. I know that for me that's a great guideline. And then I just roll it out, keeping it around the same angle all the way to the top. If you want it a little bit thicker, you may find that you overlap even more than this, which is absolutely fine. But I don't need very thick grips. People who know me and my teaching will know that the way I like to look at a grip is that the grip should be sitting in the fingers and certainly not sitting in the palm. And you get the grip that's too big, it's sitting in here. Whilst it might look like you're holding the racket correctly, the hands can't work as well. So that's what I tend to look for. So now I'm just about coming to the top. So there's quite a bit to spare, not too much, but a little bit to spare. So what I can do with this is if I carry on the line for a second, I know that I've got to eventually cut this grip. So in reality, I'm starting here, I'm finishing about here. So all I want to do is get an approximate line. There we go. Let's take it back a little bit more. And then I can feed it through again. And it's just going to sit nicely over the top. So say I kind of like to dress it to there. I'm not really one of those players who wants to, as I say, go over the ferrule and along the shaft, but that's just personal preference. And then I use really sort of 1 centimetre wide tape. I always carry this in my bag and just wrap it around a couple of times so it's nice and neat, and then cut. And that is how I do my grips on a racket. For some players, they like to grip the other way round, and usually that's left-handers who want it that way round. For me, that's how I do my grips. I like to say I like it a little bit spongy, which is due to the GR50 that I used before, but it sits in my fingers all the time. It gives me a lot more control, and it looks nice and tidy. I say I use the yellow because it matches nicely with the racket, so it looks a nice tidy piece of equipment again, rather than looking a bit grubby. So that's how I do grips. I say there's no real right or wrong, but that's just one style, one version. You could have done it the other way round and used the wide bit here and gone down to the tapered end and used a little sticky on the end of the taper just to hold it in place. And I think there are videos of YouTube Lee Chong Wei changing his grips, and that's exactly how he does those. So it's down to personal preference, whatever suits you, but that's how I change my grips. So there you go, that's using GR50 and a Victor overgrip, regrip my racket.